And we're back, and we're back, and we're back. Welcome along to Bangkok ChitChat. Andrew Sloan and myself, Andy Francis. And as you can see, I was trying to work out when was the last time we were in the studio.
I think it was February, March, the end of February.
So March, April, May, June, July. So 5 months.
Yeah, and you're still not infected.
Tried. We've been Zooming, and I like Zoom, but it's much better face to face.
Yeah.
So we will do some Zoom with people that we want to sort of chat to that can't make it to the studio, basically.
Yeah.
Right. All right then. So welcome along to Bangkok ChitChat. Today we're looking at Thai visa requirements, whether you're overseas wanting to come back here into Thailand, or you're already here in Thailand and what you have to do. I don't think it's that complicated, but first, yeah, for the people that are here, what's the latest? What's the latest information?
Okay, so basically what's happened is there was a big panic for the 31st of July, which is the end of the, well, they call amnesty, or they don't call amnesty, but they've now extended it within the past week, to the 26th of September.
All right.
So what that means is people with tourist visas, they don't need to go to Changwatana. Yeah, they also opened up Don Muang, not Don Muang, stupid, Muang Thong Thani. Yeah, Impact as a location.
That's the place to go now. If you
can go to either. You can go to either. Yeah?
Oh, really?
But the basic fear has been is that there's so many foreigners coming together. If someone has it, it could spread. So there was a lot of panic. People weren't sure what the situation was. Yeah? So they opened up the impact for this facility. One thing I didn't know, I was going to go and do my 90-day report.
Yesterday, right?
Yeah, I was going to do my 90-day report. Yeah, and I didn't have to go because they announced on the Tuesday, that you didn't have to do that. They were extending everything. Yeah. But I was confused myself where I should go. Should it be Impact, or should it be Changwatana, or should it be both? Yeah.
When you mean Changwatana, the big complex there.
The immigration. The immigration where we normally go.
And then Muang Thong Thani's further down the road on the right.
Yeah,
Impact Arena.
That's right. Okay. And it's quite complicated to get to, especially if you're driving.
Well, that whole area is not easy if you've never been there before.
Yeah.
Because it's all roads and roundabouts.
There's so many buildings. Which building did you go to?
It's a great seafood
restaurant. So maybe that's my lack of information or investigation, but that was confusion. So let's just go through it. So first of all, for people that are staying here, you have an extension to the 26th of September. Okay, that does not mean wait. Yeah, so within this time in August or whatever, they want to drip feed people through rather than a panic. Yeah, so if you have to renew your non-immigrant, you still have to renew your non-immigrant. Yeah, if you have to do your 90-day, you have to update your 90-day. Now you can do this online. They have. They said they were doing maintenance on the system.
Good time to do it.
Right. Well, actually, probably because I'm not sure what the result has been yet. I haven't checked today. Yeah. But if you do your 90-day report, you can do it online. I'll give you the location in the description. And before you had to do it 2 weeks before you were your date was due
to expire.
Yeah. Now I don't know, because mine's expired a long time ago because we had the sort of exemption. Yeah. Whether that is still the case, because I won't be able to go and do it. Yeah. So it defeats the whole purpose of having it. Yeah. Under these circumstances. The other way you can do it is you can post it. So you can download the form and post to immigration.
Can I stop you just there for a moment, because I have a permanent residency, so I'm not used to this other types of visa. When you're saying non-immigrant B, are these the ones that I mean, the people that are
non-immigrant?
Yeah. So who is here that lives in Thailand that are dependent on visas? What categories?
All right. So you're talking about retirement visa.
Yeah.
So let's just say non-immigrant. Forget the B, O, or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah? So the non-immigrant visas are people who are probably resident here for a year.
Yeah.
They get a year
turnover every year. Yeah.
So some may be working, some may be spouse or kids.
Okay.
Yeah? Yeah. Some may be retirement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And some may be tourists.
Well, that's not a non-immigrant, that's a tourist visa.
Wow. And do you think there's many people here that got I mean, have not been repatriated, right? They came here on holiday and have been stuck here since. Is there any of those?
Yes, there is. I mean, Richard Barrow said there's not many, but what I saw some figures, whether tourists or just non-immigrant, it's over 400,000. They're in Thailand just now.
Who came here for a 3-week holiday or 2-week holiday
that's foreigners,
and have ended up spending 6 months, 5 months here?
Yes, but a lot. I mean, the embassies were very, very good. I mean, I followed the Australian embassy and I followed the British embassy. They gave very solid advice. If you can get a flight out.
Yeah.
What's also happened? The flights are so expensive. They really are expensive.
Even for this purpose.
Someone was telling me to fly back to the UK for economy. It was over 70,000 baht. Yeah.
And if you already had a return flight on an airline, that flight would be cancelled. You wouldn't get a refund on that ticket?
It depends on the airline. We've all heard different stories from different
most
people.
of them are saying you can use it in the future.
Well, some of the airlines like Qantas, they're saying they're going to not get back to normal for at least 4 or 5 years. Yeah, they've actually parked their airplanes in the desert. So there's a desert full of airplanes. Why? Because in the desert there's less, rust and degradation of the.
My wife works for Thai Airways in the refund department, so
Right.
I should really be an expert, but I'm not.
But that's only Thai Air. That's only Thai Air. They've just gone bust.
Well, exactly. So they've got different protocol at the moment. Like we ain't paying nobody nothing.
Yeah. But also people should look in their own in the embassy. I've looked at embassy stuff for the Thai embassy, for the British embassy. Advice from the UK government, and there's lots of information there. I mean, you'd go into self-isolation within the UK, yeah. But if you get COVID, obviously you're going to go into the hospital, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a story about that later.
Right.
Really.
So that's if you're here going out. Personally, I think that the Thai government, even though the information has been sort of drip fed, and there's a little bit of confusion, they've done a fantastic job.
Well, yes, yes, agreed. But just look at the figures. And someone was talking to me the other day. They said that the graph that you need to look at, because England is saying, "Oh, Thailand's still not allowed because we don't believe the figures. We're not sure about this, about that." In other words, they don't trust us. They said, look at the death of all diseases, not just COVID deaths. Just look at deaths from last year, the year before, and deaths now. There's hardly any difference. Meaning that the figures are correct.
Well, there's another way you can look at
See?
it. We didn't have Songkran. So we get over 1,000 deaths just from Songkran over 7 days.
True that. But you'll understand what I mean. Like if it was Italy, Brazil, India, whatever, there's the mortality rate would be a lot higher.
Here's a question. You can look at all the figures you want, yeah? But if you want to class your safety or categorize your safety based on figures, yeah? It's a bit like saying, I won't do any exercise or eat the right food to stay healthy, yeah? Because I don't believe it. You're going.
Well,
but it's not your personal decision. You just do the.
It depends if you're optimistic or pessimistic about it. If you say I don't believe the figures, they're a lot worse. I'm not going out anywhere. Or no, they're nothing. And you go out and don't care. I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so if you don't believe the figures or you don't go by the figures, you still have an attitude of how serious or non-serious you think it is.
Well, I mean, people who have got underlying conditions, especially people, our age, from 50 up.
Your age.
Right? Yeah. All right. I was trying to be kind. Yeah.
No, your age, meaning
the
old.
Todger. Yeah.
No, us youngsters, we
Not
don't
the
have to
Tadger,
worry.
the
We don't
Todger.
have to worry. It's the old guys we've got to look after, haven't we? Yeah, go on.
So I just think people just use common sense.
Well,
I have been down to the pub, but I still notice people are doing elbow, this or whatever. Yeah, and yeah, that's fine. But I'm not going to stand in the pub with a mask on. Yeah,
No.
But I will keep certain distance. You can see that people are aware, and I think that's great.
Yeah,
that they're
absolutely.
aware.
And I think that won't change for a long,
And I
long
noticed
time.
when I was going in the underground the other day. There was I think it was a bit crazy. We were saying you couldn't sit beside each other, but everyone was cramped up in the
standing.
Yeah, but I just choose the time when I go.
Yeah. Sit on the roof.
Yeah, and it's people are all wearing masks.
Yes, and have been for the last 5 months.
It's a bit like saying it's a bit sad because when you're on the underground, you see all these pretty girls.
I think
yeah,
they
it's
look
nice.
pretty with them.
And suddenly they're all covered up.
I think they look quite pretty because you just see the eyes. No, you know, like, you know. So
And
going
they can't
back.
see my beard either. So.
No, well, I know. I didn't notice that on the Zoom. So, so now the amnesty, for want of a better word, 26th of September.
Yes.
Yeah. And what I found funny, the last date was the one before that was
31st July.
And then they came out of the government, you should go early, don't leave it to the last day because there's going to be lots of people. So there's quite a few people that went early and they haven't got such a good deal, have they? Because they only got another month extension.
No. Well,
Is that how it works? The ones that actually went, as advised.
Yes, I suppose so. I
See what I'm saying?
But I mean, the circumstances change. So anyway, the reality is that people don't need to sit there and fret about it.
No, I get it. But you've got to think about the next step after the 26th. You know, the government was saying don't all go down on the 24th or whatever days they are.
Well, they have to draw a line.
Because there'd be too many people.
Well, they have to draw a line. I think a lot of that will come down to who they're allowing in. Are they all going to have this tourist bubble?
Yeah.
The tourist bubble was basically where they're saying countries which had very low levels of COVID-19, they were going to allow certain amount of people to come in.
Yeah.
And then when there was an Egyptian.
There's a story.
You'll probably know. I won't go into it because
Yeah.
you'll know about it already. But the Egyptian soldiers were here under one of the classes invitation from the
Diplomatic
government.
immunity.
And they went out to the department store in Rayong and they went in their hotel and they had to shut it all
And
down.
there's
and
another
clean
one
it
on Sukhumvit from Sudan.
Yeah, and then there's an ambassador's child. I mean, my heart goes out to them away because did they know that the child had it or not? Obviously, or did they get the test done correctly or not or whatever? This poor wee 9-year-old is getting.
But they
getting
still came
slated.
into the country not having to do the same thing as. Well, I've got a story about this in a moment.
Yeah,
so
what they said is we're not going into isolation under the government system. We're going to do self-isolation.
And who gave them the right to do that?
It's all to do with diplomatic immunity, I expect.
Not
But
COVID
anyway,
immunity.
Whatever it is done. But what I always look at silver linings under any circumstance, because it keeps me sane, and what this actually showed was, hey people, respect the rules, wear your mask, wash your hands, only go out when you really have to. Because this is what can happen with one person.
Oh yeah, and there was a panic because that was on a soy
the whole
off Sukhumvit,
aeroplane
right?
had to go into.
Yeah, and the whole Sukhumvit was isolated and everything from one person. This
That's right.
girl at the condo, right?
Yeah.
And they just not only locked down the condo, that people avoided the soy.
Right. So I can get a tingle in my ear where people are turning around saying, "This is absolute BS.
Bollocks.
It's all getting taken too seriously. It's ruining the economy. We have to get back to normal." Well, in a way, a government is responsible for the majority, so they're going to go and take the let's say more secure route. And I can understand where different people's point of view, but. Should they have shut down, put all the people from the airplane in there? The risk of not doing it?
Oh, absolutely.
Could have been
Far
more,
outweighs.
right?
It definitely. You've got to do the lot.
Yeah, I mean the economy just now. Just a slight aside, is a mess. Yeah, but what I do see is an awful lot more people are getting out and going to hotels and things like that. And we had mentioned in the last show I went down to
with our patio.
and the hotels were Royal
Oh
Park
yeah,
was fantastic.
yeah. And the weekend trade is they're doing very well, but it's low season. How they're going to survive in high season is a story for another day.
Now you remember we were talking about 3,000 baht. They were giving to Thais. It wasn't to foreigners yet. But basically to help with the hotel booking your hotel and flights.
Oh yeah.
What they found out is that some of the hotels were putting the prices up.
Another 3,000.
Because there was that, they were putting the prices up. So there's a big clampdown on that. So if you go to a hotel and someone tries to rip you off from the rack rate, report them.
Okay. Well, look. So let's just get back to the domestic visa quickly now, because we'll move on to people that are abroad. So everybody that has to have a visa renewal can wait to the 26th of September.
No, don't say wait to the 26th of September.
Well,
Do
no,
it before
it'll-
that.
it'll
Don't
run
leave
out.
it to the last
Yeah, but if
week,
the people that did it before, then they move the goalpost again for another couple of months.
but that's your risk because if you don't, that means you're going to be an overstay. And after I think it's a month, you'll be banned from the country for a year. Then it goes up to 5 years, etc. don't wait for it, especially if you're a non-immigrant, which is a 1-year visa.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. The other thing to be aware for the people non-immigrant is that your work permit. Don't delay in your work permit. I haven't seen anything about delaying and you retaining the right to work because of this amnesty. Yeah. So I have renewed my work permit in the past month. And also, if you have a resident card like the pink card or the yellow Tabian ban, all of that's open because I just renewed mine as well. So all these other departments are open. What they're really looking at is tourists and the non-immigrant, right? And you have to have your non-immigrant to get your work permit, right? Or vice versa. Right. So don't delay.
Right, so that's the people here. Now let's just move for the people that are abroad that want to come back. I see there's a whole list of categories that are allowed back in. I mean, diplomats, you got the list there, right? I've got here diplomats, work permit holders, international students, family members of Thai nationals. They're some of the categories. I think the list is a lot longer than that.
Yeah, there's 11 categories, but the first thing is, allowing people back in. There's a big debate about that. And they did a poll. Sometimes I'm wondering how they do these polls. Yeah, and
how many people are in it? And
they say how many people are, but with different, doing it across from every level of society, sort of thing. But anyway, it said 94.51% say foreigners should be barred from entering the country to prevent a second wave. I think there has to be some second wave. There's going to be a mistake.
Well, there was not
somewhere.
much of a first wave, but to be honest,
yeah.
I mean, a second wave is normally less than the first wave, and our first wave was pretty minimal.
Well, I think, everyone was petrified with this new virus coming out. This is not a new virus anymore in people's minds, and with some people taking it less seriously. I mean, I see in the streets and guys sitting there having their whiskey and things all sitting together and blah, blah, blah. Whereas when it first came out, there was no way. They had the curfew.
Remember I was saying complacency.
Yeah, so
and I'm finding I'm a bit more
in.
complacent.
So it could be a little bit worse.
Anyway, go through the list and then I'll go through my personal story.
One of the big things just now is they're saying, with regards to foreign teachers, there's a great lacking of foreign teachers. A lot have left and can't get back. Yeah, a lot are here and cannot work. Yeah, so this is one area that they're trying to relax some of the paperwork to allow foreign teachers to come back in. Worldwide education for kids is clearly going to be affected, and within Thailand is, like it or not, way behind on English ability. Right. So for foreign teachers, they're trying to trying to make it a little bit easier. Also, what they are doing is with the foreign teachers, they're trying to open things up to trade fairs in Thailand, to foreigners to attend trade fairs, but they would only be allowed to stay until the trade fair is finished.
Yeah.
This, in a way, doesn't make an awful lot of sense.
Yeah, that's a definite no-no as far as I can see.
Foreign film crews as well, where they've got a specific itinerary. Thailand's got a huge filming community. Yeah, the Thai Film Office is really, I mean, we work with them because we get the permits and things like that, locations. They're pretty efficient. They've still got all this mountains of paperwork you have to put. I'm talking about 25 copies of every page. So it's a big job. But foreign crews are looking at allowing them to come in. They're also looking at, this is for the sixth step. Yeah. Immigrant workers from Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Myanmar for the food industry and for construction. Why?
Food industry?
Well, Thailand's massive exports for food. Construction is the one way to keep the economy.
Yeah.
So they're looking at
trade exhibitions.
But they're looking at everybody to, and the last one is medical tourists.
Yeah.
They're trying to encourage the medical tourists to come in, because obviously they're probably going to a hospital or something like that. And also people are on a process of treatment.
Yeah, I get it.
So,
I get it.
And the final one, which I thought was a little bit laughable, but I think it's linked to the Hong Kong situation, is Thai elite card holders. They have gone through that. Yeah, it's gone up so fast. So, but with all of them, they're looking at having the 14 days quarantine. So that comes back to the other thing. The other ones you were talking about was Thai nationals who are students,
work permit
returning,
holders.
and their parents and guardians, medical treatment, diplomatic missions, consular affairs, and people who are invited by the government, crew members.
What do you mean crew members?
Crew members from airlines, yeah,
That are not flying?
but they fly in and then they have to fly straight back out.
Okay.
Right? Which is difficult for distances. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean if you're on a long haul.
No, we all know all these guys do is they get in the plane and they go autopilot. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, but the thing is, there's a lot of domestic flights going on. Air Asia, like they're flying over my
Yeah,
house.
but this is
quite a
more.
few
This is more
times.
people
Yeah.
people coming in. But the big ones is the diplomatic. From what I understand, they've stopped. Like they're saying no, we don't want diplomats flying in now. And also
For me,
the
that's
military
not
side.
going to, you know, like, without tourists, these are all minor groups. These are all
Yes,
minor
but
categories.
it
you know.
takes just takes one, as we said.
But
yeah.
am I right in saying, and I'll get into the story I've got now because I think it's the right time to say it, these people that fall in this category don't have to do a 14-day quarantine?
Yes, everybody has to do a 14-day quarantine. And also, for anyone that's coming in who's...
So a trade exhibition, they have to come 14 days before the exhibition starts?
that hasn't been clear, but the understanding is that there's 14 days. Or, let's go through what you have to do to apply, right? So, first thing is they're recommending that you look at the circumstances 10 days before you're leaving, yeah? So look at the Thai Embassy website. You have to have a certificate of entry issued by the embassy or consulate. You have to have a fit to fly health certificate, and then a medical certificate saying that you've tested negative for COVID-19 72 hours before traveling, which means who books a flight?
Well,
You paid for your flight and everything. And then you've got proof of health insurance to cover you for this, and it must include, because an awful lot of insurance companies exclude it, including COVID-19, and it has to be a minimum coverage of $100,000. And you have to have confirmation of the quarantine facility you will stay at for that 14 days. And for anyone coming in as non-government or non-Thai,
well, I've got to.
you've got to pay for that. Yeah. So it has to be a designated place. So these are the elements you have to cover. And there's a timing issue with that. And the final thing is they have a Thai Chana application, which you can talk about in a little while.
I don't know what.
Which is all in
you
Thai.
mean going into a department store?
Yeah. And I was at Central yesterday and things like that, and nobody was using it.
I've
Nobody's
never
asking
used
you
it.
to do
I
it.
don't sign in and sign out now.
Yeah.
I went to
They don't
Central
even-
the
they
other
don't
day.
force
didn't
you to do
sign
it
in,
either, yeah.
Just a zzz, and that was it. And I had to wear the mask. Okay, so you go through all that, what you've just said.
Yep.
All right, 72-hour bib, fit to travel, get there. And then you get here. All right, and now what happens? Well, this girl, she's, I will try and get it on the description below. I reached out to the person who told me about this. She is on Twitter. She came from America. She's married, and her husband is, I don't know, in the business. They were living here, but then they went to England and then to America. He's still in
They're
America.
Thai or are they
America.
foreign?
She's Thai. She came over here, landed at the airport. I don't know which one. I think it was Suvarnabhumi because it was international, so from America. She landed here, no test, but straight into 14-day quarantine. Because she was a Thai, she didn't have to pay anything.
Right.
Whereas expats have to. She was put up at the Jomtien Pattaya Holiday Inn.
How did she get down there? Just to jump on a taxi, or she
I
taken?
don't know. She got there. Well, I know how she got there. Minibus with 2 hazmat suited guys.
Right.
Right,
Okay.
that stay on her all the time. Straight to the hotel, which has been government approved. 14 days there. First 5 days, had to eat the food provided for her 3 times a day in the room. Was not allowed to leave the room. In the 14 days, after 5 days, she was allowed to order room service. No alcohol. She couldn't leave the room for exercise, but the only time she left the room was every 3 days when they disinfected the room and when she went out to the van to be tested. And that was her life for 14 days. And no exercise, and she's a yoga person. She likes yoga, so she was okay in the room. There's pictures of her doing her whatever they do in, I don't know.
Clearly.
Yeah, if you like yoga, clearly, yeah. The lotus position, that's about all I know. Yes, so Can you imagine 14 days in a room, not allowed to go out? Okay, it is a 5-star, well, not 5-star, but it's a very nice room with cable. But no, for the first 5 days, you can't even decide what you want to eat. They had a vegetarian option and a meat option. That was it. So it was pak kapow and this sort of thing, blah, 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 blah. And then she could order off room service. All free, so I don't know whether she was allowed to have the T-bone steaks off the menu, but no alcohol, and you weren't allowed to leave the room. And there's pictures of her going out to be tested. It's almost like being on death row, because you've got 2 people behind you, all in hazmat. They're called hazmats.
Yeah.
There's a hazmat suits, the lot, right? The whole suit, in and out, and then they were coming in with spraying the whole room down. So the thing is, you go through all that to get here, then you've got to go through that when you're here. If you're trying to say, well, I'm going to have a couple of months in Thailand, it's not worth it. If you're trying to get back to your loved ones, I guess you just have to do it.
Yes, yes.
Or your job, or something like that.
Yeah, or stay where you are.
Doesn't it show you how serious they're taking it? Now, they said if you're an expat, you're not Thai, you have to pay, but not the rack rate. There is, I guess, a cheaper version. How much, I don't know.
The rough estimate I saw was about 50,000 baht.
A month.
What? For the 14 days.
Oh, no. Yes, I read the same thing. And that was, I saw what these hotels were. They were more like luxury, luxury. This is more, I would say about 1,500 baht.
I think it's designated hotel.
Well, they're all designated by the government.
You look at your room, you look at the food. Yeah.
Well, first 5 days she was eating meat on rice.
As a phalang,
So this 50,000 one, I saw the way it was marketed. It was like 5-star isolation. You know, it was
I doubt they're using a Khao San Road guest house.
Well, no, and a Holiday Inn is not to be, to be laughed at either. But I heard, and I can't remember where I heard it, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong.
Anyone who's gone through this,
I heard it was 1,500 baht a night for a phalang to stay like in the hotel. Not a good hotel, but not 50,000 baht. For 14 days, how much a night is that? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's about 3,000-4,000.
But of course you're paying for maybe the guys in hazmat suits and, but if you're a Thai national, completely free.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a real story. So
just get on your mobile and book your food and send it to
Not allowed to do that. No grab deliveries. No, I've asked all these questions. No. If you order food, it has to be from room service, and it was after 5 days. Why it couldn't have been on day 1, do not know. For the first 5 days, and she was tested on the 3rd day, like the 12th day, and before she left. And then she was let out into the populace. But she was in solitary confinement for 14 days.
Thailand has to do this, and part of the reason is so if you seem to be active in doing something and managing things, the economy can maybe open up a little bit for tourism. Yeah.
I can't see any of that happening this year. And this amnesty for the 26th, I can see it going through to October, December. I can see the whole thing.
Well, it all depends how other countries start relaxing what they're doing and availability of flights and things like that. Yeah.
It's all, and understandably, we're protecting our borders. Now, you mentioned 94% or whatever said keep the borders closed. I bet that 94% aren't from the tourist industry.
No.
If they went down to the tourist industry and asked every 100%, open them, because they're dying. And as we've said in past shows, I don't want to go over it now, but when the high season comes, then they're really going to feel it if it's still like it is now. And that's not.
Well, hopefully there'll be some economic support through it, whether it's like the UK with VAT, as we discussed before, they reduced that. That's fine. But this is why one of my worries is one of the listeners said about Cambodia and Myanmar, etc. Allowing everybody to come in and be tested in 14 days. Number one, where they're going to test. They need the people because there's a great lacking of that level of labour in Thailand. And so how are they going to manage
well, you
that?
Can
because
tell
these countries don't have very strict
From that
rules.
example I gave you, it's quite labour intensive to look after her, right?
Yeah.
So there's not that many people. If you're talking like 5,000 Cambodians come over, you're going to have that same diligence on every one of those as this girl in the Holiday Inn had?
Well, I was watching something the other day. It was about UK and prison reform and things like that, and how they were saying everyone thinks this is all easy. Yeah, we're treated. We've got TV in a room and all this sort of stuff, and compared to Thailand where you get people
20
feet
in
to
a
feet.
cell.
Yeah. And that experience for some people, you know, though they don't want it and they're not in prison, that's effectively what they are for 14 days. Not
I know,
14
what I
years.
don't get about it is that, you know, a hotel at the Holiday Inn, I'm sure they could have found an area outside of the hotel and penned it off for the person to get regular.
Like an exercise yard.
Yeah, I know. But at least they can get like vitamin D, which is great for, you know, fighting your getting your immune system up and all that. Locked away in a room's not helping. So at least you could walk around an exercise yard for an hour or so. I'm sure they could have organised that. And they didn't.
Yeah.
She's
Should
there,
have,
you know.
could have, yeah.
Well, should have, could have, would have. But anyway, you finished now? Is
Oh,
that
that's actually lucky for you.
no, everything you said was very
Lucky for you
interesting.
too.
No, nothing, absolutely. Listen, I don't know, you know, you're watching wherever you're watching in the world, really, and it's all affecting you in some way. Well, that's what we can be sure, is that no matter where you are, you're being affected by this pandemic. So we wish you well, we really do. And thanks for really tuning in and watching us and subscribing. I mean, if you haven't, please do. Our subscriptions are going up and we're very happy about that.
Yes.
And liking is good as well, but the sharing is the most important because that gets us to new markets and carries on with, we've got a brand new, as you can see, a thing going on here. We've got some more furniture coming in, and this all takes money and time and effort, and we need more subscribers to help us do that.
We're going to have some live stuff coming up, yeah. So we'll have some, you know, we'll do other topics as well. But what we'd love to hear is your comments. Yeah, we get some trolls coming on calling us a
Two fat old
fat old farts.
Fat
sort of
is
thing.
two old farts.
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
So takes one.
And
to
that's
know
fine.
one.
That's fine. Keep calling us all these names.
Well, you got a thicker skin than me. I get my hand. Yeah, well, it takes one to know one with those two old farts. So anyway, as I say, no matter where you are, we are now saying goodbye for now, and
stay safe. And we'll have something every week. We'll have something coming out.
yeah. Thanks for joining.
Meet you later.
I don't know which camera to look at.